is there a deeper lesson to learn about the regularity, or is it just laziness that you can't keep regular?
So what throws you off? That's the key. And generally, 99% of the time, it's going to be something happening in your life. And another 50% of that is something difficult that you struggle with. So life is challenging, as we know. Life is full of different challenges. You know, we may receive some news that we weren't expecting, and then all our focus has to be on that, and we forget everything else. But as we always say, you've got time to be stressed, so use that time for meditation, yeah? Because you've allowed that event to prioritize over everything else in your life. Now, we understand it may be something critical, someone is ill. When you've dealt with the immediacy of it, come back, get back. So it has to be a high priority. So really the deeper level is that in your mind, you have said, regardless of what happens, I'm going to continue my meditations. So you've given it that higher priority. So if anything else comes along that knocks that priority, it's still there, and you would just fall back into it straight away. Whereas you think, okay, it could be a bit of laziness for some people, but generally not for most people. It is they get busy in other areas, and that takes their attention. 99% of the time it is that. You know, it's like, you know, your kids give you trouble, or your parents are ill, or something, and that becomes an immediacy that you have to deal with. But I think if we could remember that I will deal with any of these issues far more effectively if I maintain my practices. Yeah? If I maintain the regularity of meditation, I am going to be, one, objective, and therefore find the best solution. Two, I'm going to be relaxed. Yeah? Everyone else is perhaps losing their head. You're the sanity in the situation. Three, it enables you to cope better with what's going around. So that trinity of those just three things alone means that you cope, you've dealt with it, so to speak, but you've continued on your meditations. Because we're no longer dominated by those situations. We are the master. Okay? Situation is there and it has to be dealt with, but we are in charge. And that's how we generally want to, lead our life. Now, sometimes things happen and you don't feel immediately in charge. Then you have to take a step back and think of what your options are. But the whole idea is then you have that mastery. You step back. Right, I'm now managing this situation, not you managing me. And that's the complete best place to be. So meditators generally know the benefits. It's these other things that happen in their lives. Some of them could be big, moving house, moving country, and that absorbs all your energy, so to speak. But it would be a lot easier if we maintained our meditations. We would have that clarity, that self-objectiveness, objectiveness to the situation, and greater self-awareness to make the best decisions. One thing I always recommend is if you have a really busy day ahead, say like you're working on your projects and you're thinking, oh God, there's going to be lots of demands on my time today. I've got to get my brain around this and sort something out. Do Tratak in the morning. It's the best thing because it concentrates the mind without the need for concentration, so that when you have to do something which requires a lot of your attention, you're focused, you're on it. And I do that personally. If I know that I've got a really day with perhaps paperwork or lots of phone calls, lots of counselling and what have you, I'm like, God, I really my diary is full tomorrow. I need to be on this. I need to be above it. So you see what we're missing when we don't meditate. We lose that connection with that higher self within you in your entirety, your journey to this point, what you're doing currently and your future potential. And therefore, when you're doing it and through this process, you're aligning with your own path. As this big adjustment draws you onto the correct path, and it's drawing you and you're saying, right, you're going that way? No, you need to go that way, and slowly, slowly, slowly turn your direction to there, where that is where your path is. And through your regularity, you adhere to that path, and then you can experience all the benefits of being in the right place at the right time. Yeah? So it's super powerful. Meditation, much more powerful than we perhaps even understand. Yeah, because all these things are happening on subtle levels that are beyond our direct perception. You know, because they're happening at the subtler levels of ourselves. And we're opening the heart. So that's one of the most important things about our path in comparison to other forms of meditation, is that through this integration of body, mind, and spirit, the heart awakens, the heart opens, and it is those energies that become the guiding force in our life. So everything changes. We're no longer going to be dominated by our ego self, wanting, demanding, and influenced by past actions. We are going to, through this refinement process, dissolve away those conditionings and patternings that stand in the way of our progression, stand in the way of our experience of the divine profoundly. So one beautiful thing that happens in meditation is it gives us spiritual maturity. So this is again why regularity is super, super important. Because spiritual maturity means that we're no longer influenced by our parents. Okay, we start off with role modeling. You know, we learn everything from our parents. We need to do that because we have to function in this world. But some of that can be oppressive, can be negative. And it can dictate what our personality is like when that is not really us. That's not the true us. So through our unfoldment, we begin to throw off those parental influences, those role models, not only of our parents, but of our society. But essentially, you could be 80 years old and still be immature. In other words, the way you handle yourself, the way you handle your life, the way you interact with other people, the barriers that you put up. This could all be because of those influences that we may have never overcome. So, through meditation and spiritual unfoldment, we're cleansing those, we're looking at those again, and we're reevaluating them, but from a different perspective. We're now looking at them from an objective point of view, where they no longer affect us. We look at the information and we can look at it neutrally and decide, is that still good for me? No. So I discard that. Keeping on the path is very important. Regularity, as we said, to get this spiritual maturity. Many of you have it. Some of you could be a little more polished in that, but essentially it's there because you meditated over a long period of time. Again, it's creating that high priority I need to do this, I need to do it every day, and I need to do it twice.